Hi, I am going to talk today about some of the gifts that come along with the spiritual awakening process, as well as Kundalini activation, if that's the form it takes for you. And what does this mean for those of us who live in the modern world? It's funny, there are a lot of old paradigms about what it means to be a spiritual person. First off, one of them is you have to be very serious. There's no smiling. There's no giggling. And there is definitely no swearing allowed. And generally speaking, you're supposed to be a certain way. Well, in my case, that is definitely not what's going on here. I am definitely very much of the modern world, and yet I'm very much of a modern day yogi. So let's talk about some of those gifts. One of the very first things that started to evolve when I was a child was precognition, and also a sense of synchronicity. And that's something that's really grown over time because we have so many amazing tools and so many amazing teachers that talk about these things these days, that those things are, almost becoming commonplace within certain circles. And it's such a beautiful thing to see when it used to be so rare. So some of the things that have been going on for me, as a result of being Kundalini activation, and especially when I am more in that, I touch upon the love bliss space, because I'm sure it varies by degrees. And it has nothing to do with whether I'm in the love bliss space or not. When I say love bliss space, I don't mean that life is perfect. I'm doing everything what I want for a living and everybody's nice and wonderful. That's not what I mean when I'm personally talking about the love bliss space. What I'm talking about is a visceral feeling that comes into your body that emanates love without your mind even trying. And that is so amazing when that happens. Sometimes it feels like the love comes from without, and more often than not, it feels like the love emanates from an energy source within. And what I found is as long as I go down this path, even times when I'm struggling to be in the modern day world, and I'm still doing my morning practices, and I'm doing everything I can, and I just have faith. I know that's going to come back, that feeling. It does. And it can come back in the most unexpected times. I'm driving down the road, even as I'm talking to my son, I'm talking to a friend. It can come back at any time. There's no paradigm for what's right or wrong with that, which is beautiful because it's infinite. So anyway, one of the couple of the things I wanted to share about has to do with synchronicities and tapping into the other world. So, for example, something that happened to me the other day is I was looking in one of my closets and I have this beautiful kachina in there, and I'm always so afraid of breaking it because a friend of mine had given it to me a long time ago. And so I have it in the closet, and I said, this thing really needs to be out next to my couch. And so I put it out next to my couch, and on the bottom it says for family protection. And I put it out there, and I sat and I wondered, I wonder if he's still alive. I wonder how he's doing, because I knew he was sick. And the very next day, I found out that he'd passed away. And to me tapping into that space of feeling like I really needed to put that statue out, really was just his way of coming to say goodbye. And me being available to get the message. And it always strikes me when things like that happen. And they do happen when friends of mine go to the other side. And it makes me feel more connected and able to receive the messages that they have. So, just honoring that for a moment. It was a really beautiful moment. So another thing that happened recently as well, as another gift of this process, is this lovely necklace that I share with a friend. We swap it back and forth. He lives in Arizona. He found it at a beach shop, and it's a mala for protection. It's from Thailand. It's heavy duty Buddhist. It's amazing when you put this on. It's quite extraordinary. But I thought about him as I saw someone that kind of looked like him, and I thought about him, and I said, I should send him a text and just see how he's doing and just send him a blessing. And then I got a little text back later in the evening, saying thank you. And I go out onto my door in the morning, and there's the necklace. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even know he was in town. That's incredible. Well, he must have just done that because I sent him a text, right? Well, no, actually, he sent me another text or a communication saying what's funny is that I had put the necklace on your door before I ever saw your text message. So that's just another example of being in tune and psychic, information flowing back and forth outside of the physical body. And the reality of it is, of course, that, our bodies don't just begin and end with this three-dimensional thing we have here. They extend outwards with energy. This is just where our physical energy ends, but actually other energy extends outward. And as you begin to tap into those things, your ability to perceive them increases over time. Just another example of this, being activated and your consciousness expanding is what happens is as the Kundalini energy and spiritual activation moves through you, it works on your body and your neurochemistry. And it breaks down containers and paradigms in your brain of how you see the world, which allows for other information to come in, which is such an extraordinary thing, which is something I'm all about. I love doing that with social psychology and meditation and everything. I'm always out for how can we break through the paradigm? How can we see what's really there? Because what's really there is so much more exciting than all these boxes we put ourselves in, including those for spiritual growth and who you're supposed to be if you're spiritual. So anyway, the other one was, I have a friend who twice, when she was in accidents, I actually, before the accident, I didn't know. I had no idea. I'm like, oh, something says I should get in my car and drive to this in the street. Okay, I guess I'll do that. And I did that twice. Both times, there she is in a car accident. One of them was head on, but she was fine both times. And she says, how do you do that? How do you always appear exactly when I need you? And that is just merely, my mind just being available to the information that's there. And just kind of really, without even thinking about things, just kind of going along, going, oh, I guess I'll just do this. Oh, I guess I'll just do that. And it's that kind of attitude, that sort of lightheartedness, that lighthearted, just show up where you need to go, do what you need to do. Don't think about things too hard, which is always my problem, thinking about things too hard. But that's when the magic happens. And that's when you really start to feel and see those gifts of this rapid expansion of Kundalini growth. And aside from that, it's also experiencing love from within. That feeling of I'm not talking about self-love. I'm not talking about, just loving everyone. No, it's something different. And this is the key. It's an absolute key. The key is the feeling of love starts to emanate from yourself, not your mind. It starts emanating from a place in your being that is energetic, that resonates with the entire universe. And when that starts to happen, it's so beautiful. And of course, being a modern day yogi, for me, it goes in and out, and every time it comes back, it expands even more, and it expands even more. And I love it when I hear people talk about this, because this is what it's all about. This is human evolution at its best. It's like we are wired to love. We are wired for our bodies to be happy. And that's like a whole other video, but I just get all excited when I talk about this. But it's that space of love and bliss that we're really focusing on. Because all the other things, the psychic phenomenon, showing up when you're supposed to, all of this is just a byproduct of really being in tune with the divine. And it's so easy to get sidetracked into, hey, that's the way to go. It's, the clairvoyance, precognition. And I could tell you more about earthquakes and all kinds of crazy things that I've been able to predict. But to me, it's not the point. The point is the connection of love that emanates from within, that allows me to connect more deeply with people as time goes on, and hopefully be able to make the world a better place just by smiling, just by being kind. That's really what it's about. And so anyway, that's what I wanted to share today. And let's help empower each other on our spiritual journey with our evolution, and let's start looking at the positives of everything that happens on a daily basis, because when you list that gratitude list, it does amazing things for your brain chemistry. Okay, till next time.